Hello everyone, this is Dave's Acrylic Pouring and we are going to do another video for my advanced series. This one, I've been playing with this for quite some time, so I've actually changed the recipe that I've learned for this, and this is the bloom that was first created by Shelee Art. Well, as far as I know, it was first created by Shelee Art, but anyway, they used to call it the Shelee Bloom, now they call it the Bloom. And we're going to go over exactly what it entails and how we're going to do it. All right, so the first thing that we need in this is to make sure that we have three different components. We have what was called a pillow paint. And a lot of people think that the pillow paint is just basically a base paint that you put on your canvas. It's kind of true, but not technically true. Okay, so not every paint that you put down is considered a pillow paint. A pillow paint is usually a thicker acrylic paint. It's usually a house paint, and for my pillow paint, I use the Valspar 2000. This is interior paint plus primer, high hide white. If you can see that right there on the bottom, high hide white. Okay. And that's what I use for my pillow paint. And I don't dilute that with anything. That is just the straight paint out of the can. I do strain it. I use my little strainer that makes sure I get all those little dried pieces of paint out of there because I don't want those on my paintings. So anytime I put any paint in a cup or whatever, I'm always straining it to make sure I get all the dried paint or the little Floetrol snot boogers that as it dries it starts to create this like mucusy stuff. It's awful. But you always strain everything before you put it on canvas, and that's very important. Okay, now our second layer, once we put our pillow paint down, our next layer is going to be our colored paint. The colors that we want to see in this bloom. Now, the basis of this is basically your regular paint, which I've gone with Liquitex today, and you're going to be mixing another house paint. This one is my Valspar Ultra, and this one is ultra white, as you can see here on the bottom. This is non-tinted. It's just the base that they sell there in the store. It's not tinted at all. It's just the regular base that you pull right off the shelf. Okay, now to that, I am adding this Minwax Polycrylic. Okay, this is a protective finish. You can buy this over in your paint section at your Home Depot, your Lowe's, Menards, or Ace Hardware, wherever you have a hardware store. This is very popular. I mean, you can get it just about anywhere. This is a basically like a 3-to-1 mixture, and with this stuff, don't ever shake it up. It gets bubbles in it. It's very hard to get the bubbles out. But you mix it up 3-to-1, and that was the original recipe that I learned. Those two things plus my paint, mix it up, and then add a little bit of water for consistency. That was the recipe that I learned. And I also, later on, learned people were doing the medium with Elmer's glue wall. So what I have done is I've actually come through and I've gone with the Valspar, the high gloss paint and primer, the polycrylic, and Elmer's glue wall all mixed together. And I think that it creates a little bit better of the cell action that you really want when that bloom comes out. Okay, so that's our second layer. The top layer is known as a cell activator. A lot of people think that cell activator is anything that creates cells in your painting. I've heard that so many times on my Facebook forums, and that is just not the case. A cell activator is a term that is used for these blooms, and basically it is a Amsterdam, it's a heavy pigmented paint. This one is Amsterdam Titanium White, which is one of the more popular of the colors. Mars Black is another one. Cadmium Yellow Deep Hue is another one. Stainless steel, iridescent stainless steel is the heaviest pigmented paint for doing this kind of stuff. But you want a heavy pigmented paint so that it sinks through those colors, and that gives you those cells all across when you blow it out. And to that white Amsterdam, we are mixing that with the flood Floetrol. Now, usually on the flood Floetrol, for the Shelee Bloom anyway, they are using the Australian version, which is made for acrylic paints. And this one actually says right on it that it's actually made for latex paints, is what it says. It says latex-based paint additive. So to create the cells properly, what we end up doing is we end up using another Minwax product, and this one is the pre-stained wood conditioner. And again, you can get this at any of your hardware stores. And to that cell activator, we're going to be using the 3-to-1 on the flood Floetrol to the Amsterdam white titanium, and then we're going to be adding about 4 to 5 drops of the pre-stained wood conditioner. And I use one of these pipettes right here, and I'll just suck it up and then put 4 or 5 drops in there. So then I mix all that up, and that's what we use. So you want to make sure that when you're doing this that your canvas is clean. I just got some junk on it. All right, I'm going to bring you down and we're going to get started so that you can see what we got going on. All right, there's my canvas. Now it is sitting on my Lazy Susan. And try to get it as center as possible. Okay. Now this is my pillow paint. This pillow paint is, like I said, it is the Valspar 2000 Interior Paint and Primer High Hide White. It is not mixed with anything. It is just straight out of the can, only strained. So we're going to pour this right in our center. Okay. Let that sit for a second. Let it spread out. Give it a little bit of a spin. Kind of stretch it out just a little bit. We don't want to spin it all the way off of there, because we still want to spread it a little bit later. Okay, so that's our first layer here, and there it is, looking for my torch. I've got some air bubbles on here, so I want to pop those real quick. All right. Now, my colors that I have chosen today, these are all Liquitex. I have a fluorescent pink from Liquitex. I have cobalt blue hue, Liquitex also, lime green, and then I have quinacridone magenta and brilliant blue. So those are my colors. Okay, now with different things we're going to pour on there or whatever like that, but with these blooms, we don't need a whole lot of color on here. We don't need a whole lot of paint because it gets stretched out. So we want to give this a little bit of a mix, and we're going to put right in the center, we're going to put our dollop of color. Okay, let's go with the quinacridone magenta. Another dollop right in the center of that. The lime green. I'm going to offset this one a little bit. You don't have to do this, but this is just what I'm doing. And I'm going to put a taste of it over here. Okay. Now with the cobalt blue hue, I'm going to put this one a little bit off center from that. Again, let's put a little bit on this side. Okay. And finally, the fluorescent pink. I'm going to put majority on this side. And a little hint over here. Okay, now that's our second layer. Okay, so we don't really have a whole lot of paint on there. We don't have a full cup of paint that we're pouring on here like we do for other ones. Okay, so our cell activator, this one is where you really got to be a little reserved. You don't want to put too much on there. So we're going to give that a little bit of a stir, and we're going to put that right in the middle. A little bit more. Okay. Now we are going to blow this with our mouth. We're going to blow it out very easily in different directions. And that's the nice thing about having it on the Lazy Susan is I don't have to change places. I can do it all from right here. So you want to hit like right in the center, and you want to kind of blow it out as best as you can. No, well, you don't go too far is what I'm trying to say here. But blow it out, but don't blow too hard. You don't want to blow your breath all the way down to the canvas. You want to try to blow it across. Okay, so you can see we got some good cell action right there, and we're going to give that a minute to just sit, and then we're going to spin it out. We want those cells to really start to work and really get that lacing is what we call it. And you can see it's the white, the titanium white right here is really starting to sink through those colors. So we don't want to stretch it out too fast. If you stretch it out too fast, it doesn't have the time to sink through, and then you don't get the proper lacing that you're looking for. So, and make sure that when you're doing that this puddle that's right here stays in the middle when you're blowing it out. You don't want to blow it off to the side or anything like that, because then when you go to spin it, what ends up happening is that goes with the paint that is going off to the side. So give this a little bit of a torching, not too much, just enough to pop those bubbles. There's a few of them there. Get out of there. Okay. Now let's give this a spin and stretch that out. Sometimes you got to get these corners a little bit more with the pillow paint to get it to pull. Maybe you might not have put just enough on there, like is what happened with me right here. I didn't put quite enough on there, so that paint is not going to slide very well if it's got to fight the canvas to get off of there. So that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to give it a little more love on the corners. All right. Now let's give her another spin. And you can see how it's really stretching it out. Get some really different colors over here. Got the lacing right here in the center. Now you can do this with a black background with Mars black. You can do it with a cell activator that is black as well, or you can flip-flop it. You can do a white background with a black cell activator, but you can see how the cells are really coming in all of the colors. And as this sits, it's actually going to get a little more. Those cells are really going to come out even more. So there we have it. That is the Bloom, also known as the Shelee Bloom, and that is what Cell Activator does. Is it gives you this wonderful spider web lacing that you see here. It also gives very good round cells when you're doing this. Like I said, when you get to doing this, play around, see what you can come up with. You can do other things with this. You can wreck it after you're done with this bloom, just drawing little designs in it. You can do certain areas if you want to change the colors up a little bit. You could do a little bit of balloon kiss or something like that to give it a little more pop. But this is basically one of your basics on the Shelee Bloom or the Bloom technique. So there you have it. Let's bring you in for a closer look so you can see these cells a little closer. And we will come back up or come back down just a second here. All right, so as you can see, they got some really good cells right there and some lacing. I'd like to see a little more lacing, like the smaller lacing in here, but I don't always get it. So not every time you do one of these, it's not going to be exactly the same. It's going to be just a little bit different. I really like this side right here where the colors really mix together. So, okay. Oops, get the flip out. Okay. Alright, this has been another advanced series for you. This is the Bloom technique. So practice it, see what you can come up with. A lot of people do these on ceramic 4-inch by 4-inch tiles, and they put a little cork backer on the back of them and make coasters out of them. When you do that, though, you want to make sure that you put on an enamel, clear coat enamel over that. And majority of the time what I'll use is a clear coat engine enamel, which is rated up to 500 degrees Fahrenheit for protection. So that way you can put hot stuff on it and you don't have to worry about messing up the paint or anything like that. So blooms are fun. Keep practicing them. You will get better. This is one of the things that I had the hardest times figuring out on my own. I mean, as far as you get so much knowledge out there from different things, and I actually did order the Shelee Bloom course to learn it because there was just way too much information out there, and I actually did order that course so that I would be able to do it because I loved the way this technique works. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel so we can make more content and get this form of art out there to as many people as we can. And remember, pour on. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.